Please, let's be seated. Mr. President, is it good afternoon? Good afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and welcome to this interactive forum. I and the Tony Elmelu Foundation are happy to host this interactive forum with the President. President is no stranger to Nigeria. He's no stranger to Nigerians. He lived and worked in Nigeria for some time. I was going to ask you, but let me now ask formally to join me in welcoming him formally back to Nigeria. Equally importantly is the fact that the President is not new to entrepreneurship. He understands your language. He understands entrepreneurship ecosystem. He understands how it works. He understands the imperative for success. He understands what you go through, your frustrations, your aspirations, your yearnings, your ambitions, your dreams. And he continues, since he became president, to work hard to support entrepreneurs in France and across the world, Africa in particular. In May, I think, or early June, I was opportune to be one of the global leaders he invited to Élysée, the French government house, to talk about technology for good, because he realizes the significance and importance of technology in shaping and improving humanity in the 21st century, especially in this age of artificial intelligence. At the forum, he spoke to all the giant leaders in the world today in this space. In my humble remarks, I did say, I thank Mr. President for putting me on the table to advocate or speak on your behalf, young African entrepreneurs. And more importantly, I did say that it should be technology for good and technology for all. And I'm happy that Mr. President is here in Nigeria, in Africa, to again demonstrate his love for entrepreneurs and entrepreneurship. Again, I want us to clap for Mr. President for this. So you have here with us a president, a rare politician that believes in you. He believes in young entrepreneurs. He believes in your dreams. He believes in your aspirations. And he works hard to make it happen. President, you have here Africa's entrepreneurial talent. You don't get them better. These young men and women, they are Africans at heart. They are energetic. They are extremely hardworking. They want to succeed. They know what their success means for Africa, but they are held back. And I hope that in the course of the interaction here and dialogue, and your visit this time, and also your visit across Africa, and your interaction with African leaders, that we can achieve one thing, and that is how to prioritize our youth, how to realize that the future of Africa belongs to them. I continue to preach and advocate that entrepreneurship, entrepreneurs, and those they inspire are the lifeblood of Africa's transformation. And you share this too. And that is why the Tony Elmelu Foundation decided to support young Africans with $100 million over a period of 10 years to create 10,000 African entrepreneurs. We've done 4,000, we have 6,000 to go. And we believe, and we speak to our friends, that it takes two things. These young Africans are ready to succeed. And they realize that their success is not just for themselves, but for the entire community. We need our government to prioritize them. And we also need some of us in the private sector to realize that they need, just as we had, democratization of luck, access to opportunities. They need all of us to support them. And they need us to invest in their future so that collectively all of us can make Africa great. I say to my colleagues and also friends that we are not defined by the resources or the bank account that we have, balances we have in our bank accounts. What defines us ultimately is the kind of impact on humanity that we're able to make, the kind of legacy that we leave in turning lives. So I'm happy that you're here. These young Africans, they want to listen to you, Mr. President. They want to be inspired by you. And we have them, Anglophone, Francophone, all in this room from 54 African countries. They like your story. They want to hear how you became president of France at the age of 39. So that they too can be presidents and even beyond that. Mr. President, I believe and strongly, and not just me, many people, you have spoken to Africans with a new voice. We identify with that new voice. We like that new voice. Today, I believe that this forum will be interactive and provide a unique opportunity for us to achieve a few things. One, it will be nice for our political leaders here in Africa to understand the potent powers, the importance of people we have in this room and those who are not even in this room, because our demographic structure, we have over 60% of our people who are under the age of 30. And two, we also like France and the rest of the world to know that in Africa, 21st century, there's a lot more about Africa than Africa that they used to know. We have new narratives on Africa. Hopefully you hear it today and beyond. And also, Africa is now a home of opportunities. We want the world to see us as a continent of opportunity. So, Mr. President, we like your voice, we like your tone. I welcome you to Nigeria and to Africa. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very, very happy and honored to be here with you. I recognize some friends in this room. I don't want to deliver a long speech. I think it's much more, an interaction. But let me just convey a few convictions. The very first one is about Africa. You just told it, Tony. Things are changing. And Africa has some new leaders arriving, decided to totally change and reframe the whole continent. But Africa is young. Young. In this state, 2/3 of the population is under 35.
Yes.
In Lagos State. And this state is just the 5th economy of Africa. Just Lagos State. I don't even speak about Nigeria. And these young people, this new generation, has a lot of responsibility and opportunities to build. And indeed, what I want to build with you is this new narrative you mentioned. It's obviously to work from a political point of view on all these security and defense issues which are absolutely critical to Africa. But as well to build through entrepreneurship, economy, digital, culture, sport. And we were yesterday at the shrine exactly for the same reason. And Femi should be around.
Femi Kuti. Yeah.
I think he's an entrepreneur.
Femi, where are you?
I mean, it's part of the same message and the same narrative, which is to say, nobody has to decide for our future. We are the one to decide. Nobody has to lecture us, but which means that we have to take our responsibility. Think about the legacy, the sustainability of our deeds, and how we share, how we develop our countries. And we can revert on that, obviously, during the discussion. But this new narrative is just to say Africa is the one to decide for Africa, to explain about Africa, and to create its own model of entrepreneurship, but its own culture, and to explain it to the rest of the world. And not just to be part of a globalization whose adjustments were always made despite of people in a certain way. So this new narrative is to be built now. And I do believe it's your responsibility. And I do believe it's good for Africa and it's good for France. Because if Africa doesn't succeed, France and Europe will never succeed on the long run. For two very simple reasons. Europe is not an island, and all this migration crisis, and we can revert on it if you want, is exactly due to the fact that we have a common destiny. And second, because we have a very important African diaspora in France, in the rest of Europe, and they cannot live and develop themselves and succeed in France or in Europe if in their country people don't succeed. That's this new narrative, and it was my first message. The second one is that entrepreneurship and innovation is part of the answer. It's part of the answer because that's the best way to access to responsibility and to change everything when you are young and you want to do it. Innovation is just about change. Smart people, when they are in charge, are obsessed by innovation because they want to reinvent themselves. But new people, young people, should be obsessed by innovation because this is a way to access. This is the only way when you're not a player, not an insider, to enter into the game and to succeed. To disrupt the insider, to become part of the game. Innovation is just about how to invent or reinvent something which can succeed, make your life better and the life of your family and people around you better. And I mean, there is no cap for innovation, except the one you have in your mind. There is no cap. Innovation is just precisely all about how to create and at the same time to destroy past activities when it doesn't make sense. But how to create new things, new perspectives, and provide new opportunity to young people. I mean, if I'm here today, it's just because I wanted to change a lot of things, and I decided to innovate and take my risk in political life. I never asked for the permission to do so. And guess what? Even when I tried to get some advice from the insiders of this game, the first advice was, you should wait a little bit. Wait a little bit. At a point of time, it will be for you. But not now. Never follow this kind of advice. So, if you want to do it, if you want to change this world, if you want to change your country, if you believe in your innovation, in your project, just make it feasible, just create, just dare, and just do it right now. That's about innovation. And that's part of the answer for this continent and this country. You have massive young people. And part of their future will be through this innovation. And that's why we decided to launch this Digital Africa initiative, which means to create a sort of African platform for digital. And not to explain people, to lecture people what they should do. I mean, I'm not the one to have definitely the best possible idea for Nigeria or Lagos. I mean, some entrepreneurs had some of them, and it seems that even crazy ideas are becoming reality. So, I mean, it's good. I saw the island just in front of the hotel. But you are the one to have the right decisions and the right ideas for your country, for what is good for your people, which kind of innovation could succeed, which kind of innovation could find its market. So Digital Africa is precisely this platform where we will connect. So you have here, and that's a website. And so, thank you. It's part of the advisory board for Africa. And
I'll carry it like this.
it's just a bag, but it's bag, ideas, and money. And what we want to do is to connect people and to allow people with ideas and innovation to scale them. Because a lot of things are a question of scale. How to accelerate, get access to market, get access to financing, being connected with other people with the same kind of ideas, improve your ideas and your innovation thanks to that. And I think it's good because that's the best way to work between startups all around Africa. But as well to work with investors and with... I think it's a good showcase. And precisely to work with large companies, with business angels. And I want to thank all the large caps present in this room coming from Nigeria and France. Some of you made a long trip to be here. And I think it's very important because for me, these large corporates, these large foreign corporates, some of them work already with you. But a lot of them...
Like Total.
Yeah. But they can be part of this ecosystem as well. And be part precisely of how to finance and how to work and innovate with African startups and this new Digital Africa. Because it's good for them as well. Because it's how to reinvent their model, their brand in Africa. And it's good for you because it will provide a lot of opportunities for young people. My third and last remark is obviously that part of this answer we are discussing for Africa and this new narrative is obviously about innovation and disruption, but as well about, more broadly, private sector. Private sector is part of the answer. Because private sector could provide a better access to people. Much better than political life, I have to confess. And when you want to get access to responsibility, make your family happy, have a better life, you need this access, and you need this access to private sector. I'm a strong believer in the African private sector.
Thank you.
And
I will clap for that.
Because I think that's the best way by African business people, for African people, to change the continent and change the countries, and to make it for people, and not for foreign business, with foreign business, despite of your people. Even if a few people can make their profits with the classical players. I think the unique way to succeed is to have a strong private sector on the ground, being developed here, because this is the only way to have an inclusive growth, which means to have an actual growth, a sustainable growth on the ground, to build middle classes in the different countries. These middle classes will buy a lot of products which will allow other African players to develop their business and create new businesses, which will be the only way to have a sustainable political life. Because when people get access to jobs, to better life, I mean, the political life is totally different because the whole society is much more inclusive. And it's part of this African success. That's why we launched another initiative for African private sector, which is the fact that we decided to invest 1 billion euro, which means 500 billion naira under your control, in the African private sector through the French Development Agency.
That's him, Remy. That's him, yeah.
Exactly. Through the French Development Agency, which is part of Digital Africa as well, obviously, and different French structures. And we want now to gather a lot of other players, a lot of African and European tycoons, business angels, and business players to build this platform, to develop, leverage, and accelerate private sector in Africa. That's it. I don't want to be longer. I will answer all your questions, but that's the three messages I wanted to convey for you today. I believe in this new narrative, in innovation, and in the private sector. Thank you, Tony. Thank you. But I want to.